Projects Committee, and we get briefed regularly on the Coastal Walkway, that the problem has been, and I'd be the same, getting people to persuade them to sell the land. They want best price, and great consultation with Hapu and iwi, but as a result, it's gone inland, and the cost has escalated. And I'm in the paper of saying I'm concerned that the costs for a project which I support could be catastrophic.
I can confirm that I have not heard about that rumour.
There's enough council land with that. Right. Thanks, Denny. Right.
There are paper roads. We should look at those paper roads. Cars drive on them, and they are more coastal. They're actually on the seaward side of the airport. Cars drive, and I know they're sensitive sites, and we don't want to upset burial grounds. Totally agree with that. But these are paper roads that cars drive on them on a daily basis now. They're private operated cars and airport staff cars, but cars drive on this paper road now. Do a Google search on Google Earth and you'll see it. It's called Puketapu Drive, and it's on the coast and it runs right along. We could use that. We're not going to disturb any sites because cars are driving over it now. All we're wanting is to put traffic on it.
I'm not a councillor, but it's obviously in our Rohe, so I'm going to speak to a bit. But it was on our agenda today, the walkway, and I was asking, where is it? When is it happening? Are we going to get it? Why is it costing so much? Ultimately, they did ask the question, are we buying land that we don't need to? And they're saying, no, we don't. We are actually going to bring it in a little bit. You still will be able to see the sea. But it's because of coastal erosion and other things. At the same time, I said, is there going to be enough money to finish it by the time we get there? Because we're stage 3, and they said, we hope so. So it needs to be reviewed. I'm all for it to be re-looked and re-examined. I hope it does happen. I just don't want it to cost $42 million.
You just passed the password. What I will say is that the community south has been asking for a coastal walkway for over 20 years. I'd just like to mention that.
Okay. Next question, again 2 minutes, you may not need all of it. I'm going to let Adrian go first, that's fine for me. What's your definition of integrity?
Integrity, well, it's about your moral compass, and is it for sale? So ultimately, integrity in the councillor role is am I speaking on behalf of the community and for the community, or is it my biases? And that's what I have to check. So integrity for me is about why I'm serving.
I think it's got a lot to do with independence and independence of thought. You know, I've had views over the last sort of 5 years that weren't very popular, but I stood by them and paid the consequence for those. And I think that that's what it takes. I think I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to do the best job I can for the community, and I'll make decisions that I think are in the best interest of the community based on a lot of factors. And I'm not tribal. I don't sit on the left or the right. I'm not voting with my tribe. I vote on the best outcome for the community.
There's a famous saying that says politicians and nappies should be changed regularly, and for the same reason. I always said right from the start, you know, if I become entrenched, and if I'm a councillor long enough, and I become entrenched in representing the council and the council's views rather than the ratepayers, don't vote for me. And I've certainly earned the reputation of listening to you guys rather than what the council wants.
when we're voted on into council and places like that, I mean, even community board, I've got people that want me to do things as a community board person to make things happen for our community. And that's what it's all about. You've got to do what your people want you to do. It's a case where you actually put aside what you actually think, because you've got to do what the majority of your people want you to do. You don't do it, then you know, there's no point in you doing it there. You're doing it for the betterment of your community. And a combination, that's for me, by, as Graham and I do, go to all the different community boards and that gives us an overview of everything. So, you know, we have a reasonable perspective about things. And you've got to do what you're asked to do.
Integrity is doing the right thing whether people are watching or not. From an elected representative perspective, integrity is doing the right thing for the community at large. Not to give everybody what they want, but to ensure that everybody gets what they need.
Since we're throwing out quotes, has anybody seen the TV series Ted Lasso? Ted Lasso, beautiful series if you get to watch it. But he mentions a quote by a poet and writer, Walt Whitman, which is, be curious, not judgmental. And I think when we have a look at our own integrity, of what we stand for, our own beliefs, sometimes it's going to be challenged, sometimes it's going to be hard. But as part of your integrity, in my view, as part of your integrity is how do you find the commonality in those that you're going to be working alongside. Full disclosure, whānau, I have strong views, but I'm open-minded. I'm more than happy to work with anyone across that council table, and even the elected members who are here today have seen that possible. Integrity is based on my own upbringing, it's based on my own core values as a father, as a husband, as a son. Kia ora.
Integrity is honesty, authenticity, listening, empathising, and being true to your moral compass. And I like it when people vent and they tell me straight, and they're about 30 seconds away, and I look them in the eye and I show respect. And I've done that to you Ratepayers Alliance people. I remember a few months ago I was asked to represent Max Bruff. These were the Ratepayer Alliance people that were thinking of standing, but they can't, of course. And I gave them 2 hours of my time to advise them. It was frosty, but I looked them in the eye, I treated them with respect. I've never had body language that's been belligerent. In my opinion, that's an example of dignity and respect for people.
Integrity for me is being able to look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day. And I found out one thing very early on in council. Minds are like parachutes. They work best when they're open.
Next question. What processes will you bring to provide better cost control over contracts let for infrastructural work? What processes will you bring to provide better cost control over contracts let for infrastructural work?
I'm like Brian and Max on the Strategic Projects Committee, and it's interesting because you ask questions and you're getting a report that's 3 months old, so it becomes historic rather than current. In 3 months, an awful lot of money can get wasted, and I know that's one thing that's very high on the incoming mayor's, dare I use that term, Mr. Bruff's agenda, and like Murray, Brian and myself, right behind him, has got to be far more stringent. The how part is a minefield, but it's got to be done, reviewed to within an inch of every dollar. Thank you.
So I've learned about contingency, and I had no idea about this contingency. With the aforementioned controversial Lenlai Queen Street, contingency of $200,000. I asked the senior officer what's it for. They were concerned there may be some prizes under there. It seems like a lot of money. If you go through the majority of our capital projects, the contingency historically has been out of this world. Sometimes it's been 20